So we're going to continue with steps 10 to 13, which are basically the handle and the various bits of detail that go with that. So to get the main piece of handle, that's on page 3. So we're just going to retrieve that. It's quite a large piece, so again, just be extra careful taking out the die cuts. There are a couple of very sort of thin pieces around the area of the sight. So again, just push those out very gently, making sure not to tear anything. And then there's a couple of internal bits that you just have to remove, a couple of big pieces. Take those off. This third piece, so where the iron sight is, just keep that for later. We're going to use that right towards the end. Now, in order to fold the handle, actually before we fold the handle, we'll just get rid of the little screw hole piece of die cut, again with our headphone. And we'll just pop all of those out. A fair number of holes. I think there's about 8 holes to be removed, because there's 4 screw holes. So just get rid of them, and again kind of twist them off at the back, making sure not to tear anything. Okay, so let's twist those off. Okay, now I find the best way to fold it, just because of these small pieces here, can be very fragile, and if you fold them too quickly, you risk tearing things. So use a kind of a book or the edge of the table just to fold the edges over. So use the like I say, use the edge of the table. Obviously, I can't get that on camera here, but just to fold the edges of the handle over. So again, just be careful around those thin pieces that you don't tear anything, but just fold those nicely down each end so you can see the kind of shape of the handle forming. Now, where the handle kind of folds outwards, just that first score fold outwards, and then kind of curve the rest of the score lines around. So again, you kind of form a bit of a half tube shape. Again, same on the other side. The first score line fold outwards, and then the rest of the score lines kind of fold back on themselves. So you've got the glue line. As I said, you can do this on the kind of the edge of the table where you're working, or the edge of a thick book. I just used a box here just so you could see it on the camera. So there you've got the kind of basic handle shape. The hole that you see at the back there is where the sight will come in later. Okay. So now we're going to connect this to the body. So we're going to start at the sight end. So a couple of screws. I always find it's easier just to kind of line those 2 screw holes up, pop the screw in just to hold those 2 pieces of card in place. And then if you take your base, you can then hook that screw in, and then take your screwdriver and keep that firmly in place. Don't screw it. Again, no, don't over tighten it. Just keep it in place. So then the same on the other side. Use the screw to hold the 2 pieces of card in place. It's a bit tricky to do it at this angle under the camera, but I'll do my best. So screws in. Use the screwdriver to hold that down. Okay, so that's kind of 1 and 2 done on the instructions. Now we're going to do 3 and 4, which is basically the same thing on the other end. So 2 more screws, fold the paper flap underneath, push the screw through the 2 pieces of paper, again line that up with the plastic inside, if you can kind of see just about down there maybe. So, and then again use the screwdriver to hold that in place. So same on the other side, flip it over, fold the paper around, screw through the two holes, and use the screwdriver to hold that in place. Okay, so now we're going to glue the flaps down. So again, that folds back on itself. It's number 5 and 6 on the diagram. Okay, so you want to get a little piece of glue, put those in. Okay, hold those down. They should go pretty well. And then once those are glued, I've noticed it's not apparent in the instructions. We have to do the same on the other side. So fold that flap around, glue on the outside, and then fold that flap again underneath, so that you end up with the kind of similar ridge on the left side. So just hold that down, and that should glue pretty quickly. So we've kind of done step 10, and I've just realised that I missed 2 screws from the last step. These should have been done on steps 8 and 9, but we'll just put those in now as well. So hopefully you noticed that on the last video and you put those screws in. If you didn't, you can just put them in now as I'm doing. Okay, no problems, just a bit after plan. Okay, so now we're going to put in the cradle for the site. So again, this is on page 3. So we're just going to retrieve that from our die cut pack. There it is. So I'm going to pop that out. Okay, and there's the also the site is on page 3, so I'm just going to take that out as well. And there's just one piece left in that die cut. That's just a barrel, so we'll take that piece out so we can discard the rest. Okay, so that's the iron sight that'll be used in step 13. So we'll just take out the 2 pieces of excess paper from those. Put that to one side. So this is the cradle that we need in this step. So we just kind of fold it into a kind of a, I don't know how you describe it, like a bird shape with 2 wings. It's just kind of how it needs to sit in the hole. So there's a hole at the top. The sort of round flaps go on each side. You just kind of slot that in there, and then all you need to do is glue those four flaps down. So I normally start with the one just above the charging handle, a little bit of glue across the back, and you can push that down. There's normally a little bit of pressure on that joint, so you normally have to hold it for a few seconds. So you can hold that with one thumb while you pop some glue onto the other side, and then you can hold that one down as well. So hold those 2 for a few seconds until they're firmly stuck. Okay, they seem to be pretty much in place. So now I'm going to pop some glue onto the other 2 flaps, so left and right and left, and then again you can just hold those 2 down kind of with both hands, just so that they have time again to set. Okay, so that's pretty much the last step in stage 10. Okay, so now we're going to do the 2 pieces of detail that go onto the right hand side. So I'm going to pop those out of sheet 6. So there's just 2 pieces that go on the side. So just take those out. So first of all, we'll do piece RK. So this just needs to be kind of, again, folded into like a tube. And then the kind of sunshine at the top is just kind of folded in to make up the end of that tube. So we just fold those pieces in, and then the arm sort of folds around. So again, if you glue mainly up into the arm that's extending out, make sure you're glued all the way up to the edge, and then fold the sunbeams in and wrap the arm tightly around what is now the kind of the cap, and hold that end tightly. What you don't want is that end coming off, so again you want to make sure the glue's gone right to the end of that arm, and that's been glued very well. So hold that for a few seconds until that's nice and sticky, and then you want to build this kind of little pyramid. Not sure if that's the right word, but something like that. So you just, again, create the shape that you need. Well, that's drying. I think that's pretty much dry. Okay, so now you want to glue the two side flaps, left and right, and again try and get the glue right to the edge so that nothing comes off, and then fold the flaps in, and you can glue those nicely left and right, and just hold on to those for a few seconds while that dries. Okay. Okay, so those are the two pieces that you need in step 11, it's RK and RL, and they're pretty simple to put together. So we'll just hold that until it dries. That looks pretty good now, so we've finished those two pieces. So now we need to move on to step 12. We'll need the base again, and we'll put those two side detail pieces on. So what happens if you put the kind of little pyramid on with the open side at the bottom facing left, so that you can slide in the tube, that's it, like that, and you can slide that in underneath when it's glued. So if you glue the pyramid first, then you can kind of slide in the tube after that, so that it sort of partly disappears within that shape, and just looks a little better. So put some glue on those two flaps, and then that sort of sits between the handle and the RF piece that we glued in a little earlier. Okay, then we can put a little bit of glue onto the second piece, and again slot that end into the kind of the pyramid. Hard to see without getting my head in the way of the camera. So now you can hold on to those two for a few seconds while they dry and become secure along the side. Okay, you can hold on to those. So the two other pieces that we're going to do in this step are CC and CB. Now they were part of page 7 with the other parts of the side detail, so we pulled those off at that point, so hopefully you've kept hold of those, and they'll go here on the centre panel behind the charging handle. So the little C shape goes on the back of that piece, kind of facing backwards. So that just glues on there like that. Again, just hold that in place until it's dried. And then the long piece, that wants to fold around the base. So you just want to line it up, fold those pieces down. So it should be kind of 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 approximately. So once you've got the basic shape, you want to kind of score that piece so that you've got the kind of right distances, and also so that again there's no kind of pressure on it when it's being glued. So we're just applying a bit of glue there. You can almost see on the camera I'm a bit low, apologies for that. But I'm just going to now stick that on kind of between the pieces of glue detail on each side panel. So you can kind of see me gluing those on. Stuck those down on both sides, just so that kind of wraps around nicely around the base. So there you have it. That's step 12 complete. And now step 13, we're just going to apply the sight and the last pieces of detail to the handle. So the sight is this little kind of crucifix shaped piece. We just fold the walls in, apply a little piece of glue, and then as we wrap that around, that fits in as one piece. And once that's dry, Then apply a little bit of glue to the grey side, and then that goes into the sight cradle that we glued in earlier. So that just sits there like that. And there you have it. We've now done the first part of stage 13, and we're just going to apply the 2 long strips to the handle. Again, we pulled these out of page 7 earlier, so hopefully you've kept hold of them. I'm just going to put a line of glue down those, and stick those to the side. So I'll flip that over and do the same for the other side. So again, just a strip of glue down that long stripe, and stick that to the handle. Okay, so that's number 14 done.